Hello again, brothers and sisters. Jack Talcott here. I'm going to start with the lighter side. I'm not sure how far I'm going to make it on YouTube without internet, without a phone. And the storage on my phone is about out. My two computers are down. If anyone is willing and able to help, I'm welcome to ideas and any support. Nonetheless, I'm going to talk about a couple of things. First off, I alluded in one of my earlier posts about if you look at my record, everything, you got every reason not to believe me, and I mentioned the inspector, the OIG agent. So here's what you're going to find. In my recent past, you're going to, depending on who you speak to, it is very likely that I'm described as very angry. It's in public records that I am a clear and present danger to my son and to some others. The city or the state, they locked me up for a week for being gravely disabled. I assure you, I am none of those things. Okay? The reality is, in my youth, I was in my share of fights, physical fights, quite a few. But I don't believe there was one time in my life that I have ever thrown a first punch, except in the defense of another. So, for all those people who were afraid of me, I'm just saying, there's nothing to fear. Alright, back to the other reason. The main reason for my post today is some commentary on our laws. I had to pick up the book, but Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr., and I don't know how history has proven that man to be, but one of the earlier Chief Justices. The life of the law has not been logic, it has been experience. At any given time, it pretty nearly corresponds with what is then understood to be convenient. There's no good or evil, it's just whatever the rule of the land is that should create the laws. But let's consider a lot of our laws, and let's I think it's time for us to reassess a lot of our laws, right? Because there I go with the rights. Let's think about the evolution of our nation. In the beginning, it was founded by some brilliant men, put together some very core structures of our Constitution. And throughout the years, though, there's been a lot of laws that have been passed since that time. And if you think about it back then, the educated, the very well-educated men that wrote those documents for us, they saw the path, but the majority of the people who filled this land were busy surviving. When you live in a world that's tough to survive, it's hard to have a lot of time for education. So the more educated came in, and they're already in control. They're already empowered. And at the time the laws are written, it makes sense that we need to protect commerce, and we need to build this nation and establish distribution and agriculture and prosperity. So it made sense to have a lot of laws that profited business, in my mind. But I don't think we need to do that anymore. We do a lot of things that are legal under the laws that were written, under laws that have been passed, while the majority of us are in survival mode, trying to earn that dollar so we can support our families. We are in survival mode, and those who already have, who have the time for education and thought, they put together some pretty slick laws for us over the years. Some pretty slick laws that protect the investments that they made. You know, regulatory laws on companies going public. Number one priority now to those shareholders. No longer a business for its employees and its customers. They've been pretty slick. We have been pretty slick throughout the years. And I'm sure there was a reason for every law that's passed, for every decision that's made. There's usually a reason to back it up, but when we don't consider the perspectives and the views of others, that's when we run into problems. So, one of the things I'd like each of us to ask ourselves is, you know, are we following laws that are just? Thank God not in Washington anymore, but taking men and women away from their children, locking them up in for-profit prisons for carrying some medicinal marijuana in their pocket. Come on now. I think we find when we start paying attention and really start looking, ask yourself these questions. If the purpose of life is for the experience, for the enjoyment of it, if that part is true, then look at some of the laws we've passed to deny ourselves enjoyment. Look at some of the lies we've told each other. Holding each other down and saying we're different and evil and good and bad. And brothers and sisters, we can change this planet. It starts by changing ourselves. We change ourselves by making our own choices. There's something to be said for rules and laws. We need to be respectful of others. There's no doubt about that. But we've built a society where we worship rules and authority above anything else. I mean, the situation of our country right now, it sounds like the shutdown may be temporarily over. I didn't catch all the news. But we've got elected officials playing their own personal game of whatever, I'm better than you, at the expense of our brothers and sisters, our citizens, who are public servants. I don't care what you call it. Yes, some of them could work harder. Yes, every one of us could probably work harder, but why should we? This system makes no sense. But we can all make it better. So, with that, God bless us all, guys. Live without fear. Know who you are. Learn your truth. And together we're going to change this place. And again, guys, I'm no threat. I'm passionate. I get frustrated when people don't stand up for themselves. I never did understand that.